Next, we have the wonderful Sam Thomas talking about Chloropidae, UK and Ireland, the Flickr group. This is your Flickr.
Thank you.
Thank
Let
you.
me see if that works first.
Excellent. He leaves the room and it all doesn't work. Let's go just with that then.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Hello, everyone. Yeah, I'm Sam Thomas. I'm here to talk about Chloropidae and using Flickr, of which we've all become.
You can also do it ahead. It's really forgiving and hopefully super tasty as well. What are we drinking? Well, I wish I was drinking.
I know.
Well, pregnant.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
You know, I would love to have a slurp of that. So tell me all about it.
I love this wine. So this is Asda's exceptional Central Otago Pinot Noir. It is £8.97, and I.
It was just wine. I'm a little bit worried. Hey.
I was in a talk with my actual work at one point, and someone had the police come round. It's not quite as bad as that. Anyway, yes. Restart. So yeah, talking about how I and other people have been using Flickr as a way of creating small inroads into a difficult but interesting group of small flies. So Chloropidae, as a lot of you will know, are small and difficult. They're mostly sort of in a couple of millimeters length range. They're quite a large family, so around 180 known and documented species in the UK. Lots of similar species and also quite a lot of similar genera that don't necessarily key out very easily from each other. There's also lots of, or several large, poorly known and difficult to identify genera, things like Miramyza and Oceanella. There's cryptic and near cryptic species, things that we haven't quite worked out yet, and which have still, well, they're pretty much indistinguishable physically. Some things require dissection, but unlike some other small groups of similar looking flies, the genitalia of Chloropidae are not always as informative as other similar groups. And there's plenty that have been seen in the UK and are known from the UK, but haven't been officially added to the list. So you don't always know what your pool of species you're expecting to encounter might be. Importantly, they're also worth looking at, I think. They're quite diverse in terms of their appearance. There's lots of ones that are small, dark brown and fairly featureless, but there are also quite a lot that are yellow and black, like mini surfini hoverfly type colour schemes, and various other distinctive elongated things with weird head shape, active femora like, and things like that. So they're quite interesting to look at, a lot of them. They're really good indicators as far as we know. Obviously, there's lots that's not known, or a range of different habitats, but particularly grasslands. There's some really nice species that you'll find on chalk grasslands, for example, in the genus Chlorops particularly. They were included in the provisional status review for acalyptrate flies. So there are several that have provisional status, of which there are a couple up there. There's a Bassiambia with lovely expanded palps, which is Nigel Jones's photo, and Collineella, which is associated with 4 dunes and is Matt Harrow's photo. They're often relatively abundant in samples, though not the most, and sometimes you just get 1 or 2 species and a lot of individuals. And they have interesting and diverse biology. I won't read out all of this because I probably don't have time, but just to sort of give a very broad overview of the biology and range of these things. Most of them eat shoots, grass shoots, and other monocotyledonous plants, such as rushes, sedges. That's the big groups generally, and probably about 2/3 of everything, perhaps. Some things eat grass seeds. And here on the side, we've got Pseudopachycheta ruficeps, which I collected this spring, which is an absolutely minute thing that develops in the seeds of cotton grasses, bogs and moorland. Probably extremely common, but very, very rarely recorded. You have inequilines of galls. So you've got your Lipara, creates your cigar galls on common reed. Can pack those nicely and rear them and get lots of interesting things. But you've also got a set of other chloropids that live within those galls, things like Cryptonerva, which you get a lot of if you rear them. You've also got one that I haven't managed to find yet, which is apparently mainly reared from cynipid galls on oak, but whether that's what it definitively does or not, whether it's in other things. Just sort of to give a bit of range, you've also got some carnivorous species in grasshopper egg sacs, in spider eggs, and Thaumatomaya, one of the commonest little hoverfly-like but minute groups, are mainly associated with root aphids in terms of their development. And then you've got a whole lot that are saprophagous or fungivorous. Nobody really knows, but you find them in woodlandy places and such very, very frequently, rather than grasslands generally. So yeah, that's a little bit of background on the family. And then in terms of where we were or / are, they're not the most poorly served of families by any means. They have a recording scheme run by John and Barbara Ismay, who are the definitive experts on the group in the UK and more broadly generally. They have a draft key created by John Ismay, but it has no figures. It's not widely available and it's out of date in places. The most relevant published work is the Fauna Entomologica Scandinavica volume, which PDFs are floating around, but if you don't get one of those, it's extremely expensive. It's not the easiest book and it's not complete for the UK. So fairly challenging literature, few reliable pictures of these things because they're small and obscure. And the proper experts, people like John and Barbara, are extremely busy and not always able to help with these things. So with that all in mind and being a group that I particularly like, I thought, how can we make this a little tiny bit better? Obviously, I'm not at a point where I can revise them all and suddenly make it all work, but I can do some small things to try and make them a little bit more accessible, get more people out recording them, and incrementally improve the popularity of the family. And one of the things that's easiest to do now is take decent photos of these things, hopefully reliably identified, and make using those fragmented and difficult identification resources a bit easier. Unlike some people who you'll hear from later, like Stephen, I don't have a library of every single fly in the entirety of the UK photographed in great detail. So thinking about how this works, I wanted something that would be sort of peer sourced, would allow other people to put photos in, and you've already seen other people's photos on here, to maximize coverage, something that's open and easily accessible, and something that you can improve over time, you can add to, and is also possible to correct, because we will make errors, as we all do. That's a nice Chlorops interruptus, a nice grassland species with the big shiny ocella triangle that is a feature of a lot of, but not all of, Chloropids. So how to go about that? As I say, I think we're all, or a lot of us will be more familiar with Flickr than we would have been a few years back, because it has been made use of very, very effectively by a lot of people for creating and disseminating taxonomic aids, identification aids. Obviously, as I say, Stephen's massive and amazing Diptera collections on Flickr are something I refer to all the time, and are, yeah, extensive and extremely useful. Similar, more recent, again, something that's really, really, really useful, and something I refer to very well, as frequently as I find a Heliomyzidae. I refer to this is Ian Andrews' collection of Heliomyzidae on Flickr. And those two things are both individual resources created and maintained by one person. Then we've got the Flora of the British Isles, a photographic guide, which is a different kind of thing. This is a group-sourced resource where anyone can upload photos and they are indexed to species and presented. So you're not having one person doing all of the photography. So that was the type of thing that I went for. And I just put together very quickly and put out there the Chloropidae UK and Ireland Flickr group. In the same way as that Flora group, it's a space that allows people, users of Flickr, to upload their own photos, tag them, as I'll explain in a minute, and then have them appear in this group in an indexed way under species. So lots of pictures of my own, a fair few pictures from other people, and up here in the top corner furthest from me, we've got some other bits. So we've got some helpful links for identification and some information about recording as well. So how does this work? So on the far end from me there again, we have the index, which is a copy of the Chloropidae section from Peter Chandler's UK checklist, mostly. And in the blue, we have species that are clickable and now have photos behind them. And the complicated-ish bit of this, which isn't actually that complicated, is that this isn't sort of a feature that Flickr intentionally has. So you need to use a little bit of HTML code in the background to actually make this index work. So you've got that one there, which is the address and code behind that, and that is a tag telling it what it's looking for, the species it's looking for, and that's kind of the core part of this. You have to tag absolutely everything, otherwise it won't appear where it's meant to. And then that text on the side nearer to me turns up as that clickable link nice and neatly in the index. I think if you can work out how to do this, this format of group with an index is actually quite useful and accessible, and a good way to share images of less popular, less well-known groups. So just to quickly flick through a few of the things. So Camerota curved penis, a nice little thing with wings that curve down over its abdomen, quite common in grasslands and dry habitats in the south at least. We've got some pictures from Martin Harvey there of the live animal, and we've got some pictures I took of different angles and features of thin specimen. Chorops rufinus, that's a nice thing of probably calcareous, but not definitively grasslands. One of a large genus, difficult to key, some of them, but actually they all, or most of them, look quite different once you've seen them. And this one has some nice pictures of the whole fly from Nigel Jones, and then some detailed micrographs of the head, etc., from Matt Harrow. So you can see that we can, as I say, put together pictures from different people under the same grouping, which makes it easier to get decent coverage. Another nice little fairly common thing, Epichlorops puncticollis. All of the pictures there are from Ian Andrews. I think, yes. Including lifelike ones and ones of collected specimens. Trying to keep this, I mean, have a range of things, but only things that are useful for identification, which all of these obviously are, but no like zoomed in, pixelated phone camera pictures of things that are no use to anyone. And then something like this, Oceanomorpha arcuata, which is quite a distinctive, relatively scarce, dry habitats, sand dunes, brecks, type of thing. And here we've got some other detail. So you can also include these genitalia images. Image on the bottom there of the femoral comb is a character in a lot of these, which is some absolutely minute warts on the upper side of the male femora. Are pretty much impossible to see. And you can have also a range of different more detailed things, comparative things that help identification. So we've got some Cryptonerva male apandria there from reared and swept from various Lipara galls. And the top one is one thing, the bottom one is the other thing, and the one in the middle is intermediate in every single. Yeah. And then your Myromizas, these are long things with big femora, and they're very tricky. All the publications have the bits of the genitalia in different formation, different aspects, so you really can't compare them. It's really difficult. Then Elyciptera cornuta, been known about for a long time. It has a big fat femoral comb, and then Elyciptera species near cornuta is actually all over the place, and it's pretty much only solid distinguishing feature. 3 minutes. Okay, I will speed up. Right, is this much narrower femoral comb. So there's 180 odd on the UK checklist, and we've got 190 odd on the group index for other taxa, and a little bit under half of those are currently covered with at least one picture. So not bad for a family that would have very low coverage a couple of years ago. I won't go in through this bit in detail because people can go through it separately if they want to, but please add photos. If you have photos, please add them. It's fairly simple, though these next couple of slides will make it look like it isn't. You can just email me and I can add them if that's easier. But it would be great to get any identification relevant photos and get them added. So yeah, some stuff around how to do so. If you've already got a Flickr account, how to sign up for a Flickr account, various other ways of adding photos if you've already uploaded stuff. There's currently, if you're adding photos, a 6 photo daily limit for a user, just so I can review and check them, though we haven't really had much problem with that. I've been inundated by hundreds and hundreds of photos. Maybe tomorrow will be that day. And always set them to Creative Commons if you possibly can. So yeah, please add your photos, email me if it's easier. If you've got some that aren't on the list, haven't been photographed, I'd be happy to give them a go and photograph them if you're happy to part with them, at least temporarily. If you spot any errors, there will be errors, please do let me know. And I'm going to try and take some photos of some museum specimens to add to this over the winter and next winter. Yeah, and that is me. So.
Do we have any questions?
You said one of the features is the kind of like really big shining ocellular triangle. Is that diagnostic of chloropids as a family as a whole?
So the question was whether the ocellular triangle is diagnostic of chloropids as a family as a whole, and the answer is no. It's suggestive, but some other families have it, and some chloropids only have a small dusted ocellular triangle. Chloropids have a kink in one of the veins, which I just forgotten the name of that vein. Anyway, one of the veins near the base of the wing has a slight kink in it, which is theoretically completely diagnostic. They generally have a look. Someone else. Yeah, so suggestive but not diagnostic.
Any questions online? Anyone want to raise a hand? Are we all good? Okay.
Sam, is it easy to rear them out?
So the question was, is it easy to rear them out? I mean, we don't know what most of them do as larvae, or not in any detail. The ones that are easy to rear out are Lipara, the cigar galls on common reed, and they are wonderfully easy to rear out. You just collect them late winter, put them in a bottle, and they will all start popping out along with other interesting things in a couple of months. The ones on in the seeds of rushes and sedges are the Pseudopachycheta. They're relatively easy to rear out if you collect them at the right time. But beyond that, I don't have much experience of rearing them, and finding them to rear would be the issue, I think. Oh, there's a few there.
Go on quickly, everyone.
Hi, I've just got a comment, not a question. John Deeming did write an article in the Dipterus Digest on rearing shoot flies. If anybody's interested in doing it, you can look back at old issues.
You just repeat that.
So just adding some information that John Deeming published an article on rearing shoot flies in the Digest, was it, or the Bulletin Digest? At some point, which I wasn't aware of, so I'll look that up.
Zoe?
Yeah, I was just wondering how easy it is to spot the larvae. Is there diagnostic features?
I have no idea. That was a question about whether it's easy to spot the larvae or distinguish the larvae from other small maggoty things. And the answer to that is I have absolutely no idea.
Mark?
Or pass it.
Okay, there's one online.
Do you want to read it out?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's from Neil Fletcher. The Flickr group does not appear if you search for it unless you untick hide inactive groups.
Okay.
Is that our first error from this talk?
I don't know.
That's interesting. It appeared on the Google search results when I typed it in before. I don't know if that's possibly searching it through Flickr. I'll look into that. And so that was just inactive groups and it's not appearing in search results. I'll check that out and see what's happening.
Thank you. Thank you.